I've never seen this before. In North Carolina, I've never seen the condition that this state is in. Never seen that before in my lifetime. When I was growing up, North Carolina was great. I had won so many meals and Pepsi Colas. I would be an alcoholic if I drank, I reckon, so much. I won so much. But I had won so many meals and drinks, Pepsi Colas, off the state of North Carolina. You know how I did it? It's not gambling. If it's a sure thing, it's not gambling, is it? I used to tell them, North Carolina is #1 in the country in turkey production. No, it's not. Yes, it was at that time. I said sweet potato production. I said tobacco, right? We were right on down the line. And then I went even more when I say one person from Eden, North Carolina signed the Declaration of Independence. Your little redneck town in North Carolina didn't have anybody sign the Declaration of Independence. So they go do their research, find out, yes, they did. One man from Eden, North Carolina signed the Declaration of Independence. I said, one man from Eden, North Carolina signed the Constitution. No, he didn't. I said, I bet you Pepsi Cola. I said, the first Secretary of the Navy in the United States of America was from Eden, North Carolina. After a while, I can't win anymore. They said, okay, we believe anything you say. The first activism by women, political activism by women in the United States of America was Edenton, North Carolina. You know that? Yeah. The oldest courthouse in this country still in use is in Edenton, North Carolina. One of the first Supreme Court justices in the United States of America is from Edenton, North Carolina. I tell you that not to brag, but I come from a group of people, a long line of political activists of all kinds. We don't take that stuff lightly. It was bred in me and my brother. I remember it as a little boy. I probably know how it is. Parade comes. Here comes a military guy walking by carrying the flag. Me and my brother were talking. My daddy was a big man. He could take that thumb right there and he could break a glass with that thumb. And me and my brother were talking. He popped us both on the head with the thumb. That thing hurt and was sore, I don't know what. And I looked back at him like, what did I do, Daddy? Tears rolling down his eyes. From then on, I've been the same. From then on, I've been the same. I've seen that thing draped over a lot of men and women. And so thankful to God it wasn't me. But you know what? If y'all ask me to go right now, I'd go. How about you, Major Dave?
Yeah.
Rest of y'all are the veterans, you go right now. Because you, now even more than before, you feel like I'm saving my country. That's what campaigning is all about now. Representative Dixon, I bet now by politics you feel entirely different than you ever felt. Because it's different now. Y'all feel, everybody in here feels different about politics. Because it's different now. This is our chance. This is our chance. I wouldn't be standing in front of you if it wasn't good people like yourself, grassroots who go out and spread the word. I couldn't do it. Campaign members couldn't do it. It's our sister network. Good American people doing their thing. It's for everybody. It's we the people, and that's what it's all about. I've talked about it for myself long enough. I could tell you more, but you probably don't believe some of the stuff I already told you. Because how in the world did somebody like this get to do some of the things I've done? I'm trying to think. I had Pepsi Cola all ago before I came here. And I had a piece of Bojangles chicken, so
didn't doubt you, just give me a second.
yeah, I appreciate that. But any questions, I'll entertain them. If I can answer them, I will.
Okay, Mark is going to hand over the question.
Yeah, Ed, we had some people that gave us a list of questions. Lynn, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to call out a name and have them ask the question.
Okay.
All right, that'd be fine.
Gail, you had some questions you wanted to ask?
Yes, I do. First of all, will you support photo voter ID in North Carolina?
Absolutely. I don't need to say anything else about it. But I will tell you this quick story. Every time I vote, when I early voted in the primary, I walked in, they knew who I was. I pulled out my driver's license. And he said, Mr. Goodwin, we don't need that. I said, no, yes, you do for me. I said, Edward Goodwin, William Edward Goodwin. My dad taught me to do that. He always went in, took out his ID. He said, this is who I am. And my brother, we went in town getting some parts for the truck. And my brother said, I got time to stop by and vote real quick. I said, sure. Walked in, I was talking to somebody there. He pulled out his driver's license. I didn't know he did that because we don't vote together. He pulled out his driver's license. Everybody started laughing. He said, what are y'all laughing at? He said, you and your brother the same way. Both of you pull out your driver's license. My brother said, this is my vote for voter ID. And he showed his ID. So I'm all in favor of that, yes ma'am. And I think you need to answer that question. If I feel that, if I'm this sensitive about my country and the right to vote, I think you know how I feel.
Joe, did you want to ask another one?
Well, I have several, but you want to go ahead and answer them?
Just if you would go ahead and ask one more, then we'll move on.
Throw them at me.
Do you believe North Carolina should remain a right to work state?
Yes ma'am. I was a right to work employee in a union job when I was come home from service.
Ed, I've got a question, if you would. It's my understanding the Secretary of State basically make sure the candidates running for office are qualified for that office. Is that correct?
No, sir.
That's not correct.
No. North Carolina is different than a lot of other states. There's a few states that are like us when it comes to the board of elections and stuff like this.
Okay.
The governor appoints a board of elections director. I believe there's been discussion and movement trying to get that changed. That's why George Soros is putting so many millions of dollars into some of these campaigns. He wants all the Secretary of State to be Democrats.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, then you have no influence, it's all up to the governor who picks the board of elections.
Yes.
Then
Isn't that right, Mr. Dixon?
Director.
The board of directors. I mean, the director of the board of elections. Yes, sir.
So to change that, we'd have to go through Mr. Dixon here. Okay.
But I think that there has been discussion, am I right, that to put the board of elections under the Secretary of State?
Yes.
So if that happens, then the answer to that question would be yes, and this and that and other.
Okay. Dottie?
If the mandate under Obamacare is ruled unconstitutional, will you work to keep the other parts of the plan from remaining in place if it's only the mandate that's ruled unconstitutional?
Well, personally, I believe we should have joined in with some of those other states and sued them to begin with and not had any part of it.
Yes.
But I will tell you this, if the law comes down, if the law of the United States of America says you've got to do this, I think you can tell I'm a law-abiding citizen, but there's no law in this country that cannot be challenged. I think we see that now, so I don't take two pounds to anybody telling me what I got to do, when I got to do, and how I got to do it. That's the Tar Heel in me,
Dottie, would you like to ask another?
You work to keep the marriage amendment in place?
Yes, ma'am. I'm all for that. As a Christian, a deacon in the Baptist church, and a teacher, Sunday school teacher of adult senior men, I'm set in my values. My values are solid. Try my best not to waver from them. I'm far from perfect. I trip and fall a whole lot, but there's some things that I hold dear, and that's one of them.
Rochelle?
It's a two-part question.
Well, I figure you have a four-part question.
You push me. I'll be easy on you guys. Do you oppose or support the merger of Progress Energy? And the second part is, would you support elimination of the Department of Energy?
As a customer of Progress Energy, all the way back to when it was called REA, when it first come out and everything, I liked that, and I still like that, having that part of it. That was a co-op, and I get dividends from that co-op. When my father died, his share was paid to my mama. That was a good chunk. I hadn't read all that stuff, and I haven't seen where that's would still stay in there, where we would have membership, ownership in that merger. I don't think that will be in there. I don't like everything being monopolized under one thing. I like the diversity in that. Really, free markets and just let's go and do this. So that's worrisome. But the other hand is, if they tell me electricity will be rationed, that might change the story.
You read on this, didn't you?
That might change the story some. We might not be able to produce electricity like is required. I don't know whether that's so or not. But having said that, you really have to look at those things and see. But I think legally, if they merge and then they come up and they can't produce what they need to satisfy the customers and everything, I think there is a legal recourse there. Just like Chowan County, we sell water to the local town when they have problems with their water. We sell it, even though we don't want to sell it sometimes to them. We have to sell it to them. There's a law that requires us to sell that to them. So if you have a public utility like that, you cannot deny somebody. And I would hope that the laws in place of that merger wouldn't come to do that, to rationing. But I think that's fear mongering if we start talking like that. But it does concern me when we just monopolize, especially a utility like that, utility provider electricity. Because I love my air conditioning. I love my air
As
conditioning.
Secretary of State, do you have some say over that?
I wouldn't have that much say in it other than I see the Secretary of State position as a business diplomat, which means the Council of State would meet with the governor and we would make decisions based upon that. Then we would go to the General Assembly and talk with them about some issues there. That's the way it should work, and that's the way it's going to work.
With all the things you have in mind to review and put into action, who oversees you?
You.
That's it?
When I stood here tonight and told you, if I cannot do that, I would be like a yard dog. You know what that means? I will put my tail between my legs and I'll crawl into somebody's porch or run back to Chowan County if I can't do what I'm saying I want to do. And really, I'm not saying anything above and beyond. That's what, in my opinion, that's what the Secretary of State should be doing anyhow. You read the mission there. What are they supposed to accomplish? And that's the development of business and survivability of business. And in order to do that, you have to do a lot of those things I described, in my opinion.
We support the Department of Energy.
Based upon its success, no. But we have to go back and see, well, did we have a Department of Energy? Why was it created? I'm against anything that was created to provide a service to the people to improve our quality of life. If you go back and look, the Department of Energy has not fulfilled what it was created for. And nobody likes to change it. It's kind of like our laws we have on the books. We have laws on the books to govern certain things, to control certain things. Well, most of our problems are created by those laws because we, the people, do not require enforcement of those laws. So we've got useless laws on the books and they're not being enforced.
Yeah.
You know, immigration. We got laws on the books right now to control immigration. We do not enforce those laws. How can we change those laws until we enforce them and find out that there's a problem with those laws so we can adjust them? You know, we have three branches of government. One of those, the laws are passed, then the judicial branch gets to decide whether or not those laws are constitutional. Well, our problem is we'll pass laws and they never have to go through a litmus test of anything. They're not even enforced. So, with the Department of Energy, it may need to exist, but we do not know because nobody's ever looked at it and said, okay, how successful has it been? Has it accomplished what it was supposed to accomplish? If the answer is no, we've got to change it or do away with it. I think it's kind of premature to just say, let's do away with it tomorrow. Well, it's kind of hard to snap. That's hard to just snap something away because we've got to look at what's the drawback to the people. Will it hurt anybody? I'm not talking about the government employees. I'm talking about us, the people. I think if we look at it and analyze it and see, is it accomplished the mission? What has it done? Is it worth the cost? You know, what is the cost of operating this for the performance it gives us? If they're way out of whack, well then you know what the answer is. Has anybody done that yet? Nobody's done that. When that is done, then it's easy to decide.
And do we need it on a federal level?
There's a lot of things we don't need on the federal level that we just got in my lifetime or in half of my lifetime. Department of Education, Department of Energy. We do a lot of things. A couple of states in the United States do not accept any education money from the federal government. They have good schools too. Does that mean it'll work here? I don't know. I don't know. But when we are not educating our children the way they should be educated, we have to look at all the possibilities to correct that situation. Look at all the possibilities to correct that situation. But the key is we got to be willing to step out there and do it. You know? I hope that was a roundabout way to answer that question, but I think you know how I feel about it.
You did fine.
Mr. Goodwin,
Yes, sir.
I have a question, if you would, please. You talked about that you came in office with $32 million in debt, and that you were able to turn that around. Was that just done with cuts? Was it done with tax increases? What did you do to turn that around?
Raise taxes one time, first year, raise taxes 3.5 cents.
On,
On 3.5 cents a hundred.
okay, on property tax?
Mm-hmm.
Has that been reduced since then? Since you're running such a big surplus now?
We were going to reduce it this last time, What we did, we took, a cent and a half of that 3.5 cents and designated that solely to go to fund balance. So every year, whether we saved any money or not, we were putting money in fund balance, period. So we cut a lot of other things. We cut probably 30% of the budget the first year.
So is that 30% as in actual dollar, in other words,
And no,
dollars spent or increases?
no, that was an actual
Actual
dollar.
dollars spent.
Well, Chowan County was operating about $3 to $5 million over budget. What's troubling there is for 8 or 9 years, Chowan County did not submit a balanced budget to the state of North Carolina, and nobody did anything. It's a law that you got to submit a balanced budget, and once you approve that budget ordinance, it becomes a law. If you change that budget, you got to amend it, and vote on amendment, and then you got to vote on transferring money to satisfy that amendment. And that's a law, and it's overseen by a local government commission, state of North Carolina. And that group is appointed by the governor. Well, nobody monitored that. So the first year I was on the board, the first budget we worked on, we balanced it, we cut, say 28, 30% of the budget. Because our revenues exceeded our expenses far exceeded our revenues. So we had to get that in line. We submitted a balanced budget every time. We were going to reduce the taxes this year 1.5 cents. We decided, and everybody, the people of the county agreed with it, we decided to keep it just like it was. It's 68.5 cents now on per hundred. That's what the tax rate is in Chowan County. So we decided to keep that 1.5 cents and designate it solely for debt service. So that means we will pay our debt, and we will take that 1.5 cents and pay that extra every year until we pay all that debt off. And renegotiating those loans and the way we did it right now over the next 10 to 15 years, we will save the people of Chowan County over $5 million. Just on paying all that debt service, keeping that 1.5 cent tax designated for debt service, rather than reducing taxes. Nobody knows, not a single citizen complained yet about it. Only thing they say is, we're satisfied you kept taxes right where they were for 4 years.